Alright guys, today I'll be reviewing Mako at SeaWorld Orlando, and this is a ride very similar to Mako, in my opinion, where I definitely didn't give it enough credit initially, and I think really the main reason here, as opposed to Mako's, which was operations, here, it was mainly just because I expected like a top 15 coaster out of this for some reason. I just heard all the hype and everyone saying it's an ejector machine, but I didn't get that. But when I think about it, it's still probably the best B&M Hyper, putting those lofty expectations aside, and I'll get into why in this review. So to start off, this has probably the best presentation of any B&M Hyper, except probably Shambhala, but Shambhala is just leagues ahead of the others, I'm assuming. So this is the best in the US. You got the shipwreck and everything that looks phenomenal, the color scheme over the water, it is definitely the best looking B&M Hyper, I can say that. As much as I love Nitro, you know, this just kills it in terms of theming. The queue line itself is really obnoxiously long, but it's nice to be in. You've got like all the wood around it. You've got the test seat like halfway through it, which is a bit strange, but you know, whatever. You've got just a whole lot of walking and going upstairs, and it's all that for pretty much a station wait, which I went during February break, so I imagine it's pretty much never gonna get to a full queue, which is really a shame that you're gonna walk all the way around if there's not an empty seat, but it's still a station wait. But you know, it's whatever. From my experience, I could just hop in an empty seat, so that's gonna be your best bet, and I'd sit as close to the front as possible, which I know sounds weird. I know most B&M Hypers are back row rides, but for some reason, this ride is a front row ride, and I just think it's the way you get pushed up into some of the hills, the profiling specifically like front row heavy on this ride, which, I mean, I'm not complaining about. Usually second to front isn't very populated, so that's usually the magic seat on rides like this. So definitely go second to front unless you can get that front row, which is obviously where you want to be for the wind and everything. But yeah, once you pull out of the station, and these are very fast ops too, you're going to absolutely get out of there really quick, especially with these clamshells, which aren't the greatest restraints in the world, in my opinion. In my opinion, I like restraints that just hit in one spot where you can really feel the airtime, but these are solid. But yeah, once you get out of that station, you're going to hear the onboard audio, and it is a fantastic soundtrack. I really wish it played throughout the entire ride, but it's only on the lift hill, which, I mean, it's good enough for me. I absolutely love onboard audio, and this really sets the tone, really feels like a shark's like coming at you. Like, I can really appreciate it. So yeah, once you get to the top of that lift hill, you're going to head down the drop. It's pretty good in the back. It's definitely floater. It's not the best part of the ride at all, but it's very good still. Even in the front, you'll get a little something. The valleys on this ride, I'll say right away, do absolutely nothing. That's definitely the big thing Nitro has over this ride, is Nitro's valleys actually do something, but, you know, that's all right, because you got the first turnaround on Mako, which kind of throws you laterally, not really though, but then you hit the 5-second floater hill, and this thing is magnificent. I mean, I was a little disappointed with Candemoniums, but yeah, there's just something about this one that hits harder than Candemoniums. I absolutely love it. It's almost ejector the strength, and you're just floating there forever, pretty much. It's probably the most sustained moment of airtime I've ever felt, which is fantastic. You got the hammerhead turnaround right after that. These never do anything, so that's not a real surprise. You've got another floater hill, which is actually, again, shockingly strong. Not as strong as my lofty expectations thought it could be, but I recognize it's definitely stronger than most B&M Hyper hills, and same can be said for the next one. These two feel pretty similar. Great floater. And then you're going to hit the speed hill. This is my favorite part. This is ejector. This is the one moment on a B&M Hyper that's ejector outside of the finale on Nitro. And this is definitely better than any moment on Nitro. It's sustained. It's strong, it's powerful. This is truly one of the best elements on any B&M period. I love it, especially over the water. You're going to pop up, get a little pop of airtime into the mid-course in the front, and then the second half, it's okay. You've got a little drop-off, you got a hill, which doesn't really do a whole lot, little floater there. You've got a sort of stangle dive type element, and that's definitely the best part of the second half. You definitely get whipped a bit there. Some of the best laterals you'll get on a B&M Hyper, probably the best, just because, you know, B&M Hypers don't really give out laterals, so that's definitely a really fun moment. The rest of it kind of meanders a bit. Goes through a sweeping helix over the water, which looks really cool. I like sitting on the unload side in particular and just like reaching my hand out, especially since the unload side's the most aggressive for that stangle dive. But then, yeah, you pop into the brakes and that's your ride on Mako. So overall, it's definitely a very solid ride. It's not the greatest of all time, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, I think this is my favorite B&M Hyper, so that's why I'm going to give Mako a 906 out of 1,000. It's really one of the best B&M Hypers. I think it's fantastic. I do think it's slightly better than Nitro, which is unfortunate for me because I'm a huge Nitro fanboy, but when I really look at it, Mako's just overall better. Nitro's a lot jankier and a lot more personal to me, but yeah, Mako's just got it all for a B&M Hyper, so that's my review of Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. Let me know what you guys think of this thing down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.